there's things that are often unseen but still affecting our daily lives. So the true nature of these UFOs is we keep seeing them in the sky, so you find yourself puzzled. There's always so many theories. Are these advanced spacecraft simply products of, UFO beings that came from another galaxy? Or are they a more ancient and darker technology behind them? That's what a lot of people end up asking themselves. So imagine this, a technology passed down from the fallen angels. Being, these angels cast out of heaven, yet still in possession of knowledge far beyond what humanity can really grasp. And consider their offspring, the Nephilim, described as giants, the mighty warriors who roamed the earth before the great flood. These beings, born of the union between the fallen angels and the human women, essentially, they were powerful, intelligent, and most importantly, they were privy to this technology that is well far beyond our reach. Technology that was not intended for this world. This is angelic stuff that the Lord saved for whatever his purposes are, but it wasn't for man. At least that's how I understand it. So the Bible and many other ancient texts, they describe the great flood as a means to cleanse the earth from the influence of these fallen beings. But could some of these Nephilim survive is really the question. And it seems like it's clear that they did some way or the other, because in like the book of Numbers and later Old Testament stuff, it's evident that they did. Because I remember when the Israelites were going to the land of milk and honey, and the spies that went in, they came back and they reported there was giants the size of oak trees, that they were literally grasshoppers in their eyes. And then I think about David and Goliath. Goliath was a giant. He was a Nephilim. So I believe many did. But how they did is always up for speculation. So one thing the Holy Spirit's been leading me to is they escaped through dimensions to evade destruction. As the Bible has talked about portals here on earth, and the book of Enoch really goes into detail on these portals. So with this forbidden knowledge imparted to them, they developed advanced craft that we now see as UFOs. These things are designed to traverse between our reality and their reality. That could be the second heaven. It could be other dimensions or the other side of the spiritual veil. But this would explain the highly erratic maneuvers that we see, almost supernatural movement of these crafts. And the behavior of how they move really defies all the laws of physics here in this reality. So I'm not sure if other scientists or just the general public are aware that our reality, and this is the way I see it, it's simply, it's real to us, but it's almost like it's a God matrix where there's rules, the laws of physics and stuff like that. Because for those who have had NDEs and been to the other side, those same laws do not exist. And that's for another show, going into detail about that stuff. But however, there's a purpose behind these sightings that runs even deeper than their technology. These beings don't want us to think of them as the Nephilim or the fallen angels. They want us to believe that they are advanced aliens visiting from distant galaxies. The intention is to discredit the Bible's account of creation and to undermine its truth. Their goal is really simple. It's to sow doubt. There's been a lot of doubt sowing lately. But it is to sow doubt, to make humanity question its origins, and to essentially deny the Creator. Think about it. If the world believes these are aliens from afar, it will discredit the biblical story 100%. And they will believe that life on earth is an ancient memory, an ancient cosmetic design, evolution from these creatures that will present themselves as to be divine. And, many folks have talked about this as a possible scenario of what's coming in the near future, one of these possibilities to cause the falling away. Now, these beings, let's just call them demons, disembodied spirits from the Nephilim, they've been appearing in various forms all throughout history. I mean, there's been records of it everywhere. Ancient records from hieroglyphs in Egypt, carvings in South American ruins that depict these beings in strange crafts, essentially descending out of the sky. In Egypt, images on the temple walls reveal a humanoid style figure in what appears to be a vessel or a capsule, suggesting that these technologies were also witnessed throughout the ages. And I remember seeing this stuff, years before I was studying this, watching like Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. You'll notice that narrative on the Ancient Aliens was to really plant those seeds that these little green men came from far away. The ancient civilizations has lots of documentation on this, and I'm sure you guys understand where I'm going with this, but the mainstream media has always painted these as aliens, as, again, not the demonic or the fallen angels, but life that has traveled afar. So the Egyptians recorded sightings of these fiery discs in the sky, what appeared as bright lights, and left their people in awe and terror at the same time. Such accounts echo the strange lights and crafts we see in the skies today, suggesting that these entities have been visiting, manipulating, and guiding humanity's path for a millennia. I think about those 17 days in Virginia outside of the Capitol building near Langley CIA base. We touched on this maybe a week or two ago. For 17 days, well, they called them drones, but I think they were what we're talking about right now, because they could not be pursued. They scrambled F-35 Lightning jets. They even got NASA involved with some of its high altitude camera craft, and they could, apparently what they reported, that they could not identify them. As quick as they came, they left, and they couldn't track where they went, and I think it's because they're interdimensional. So these beings, they continue to deceive the world, the governments, and we're unable to stop or even control them from entering their airspace. I mean, they literally enter our airspace, and we can do nothing about it. So I think they've made a dark deal. The leaders of this country, they know they can't control these entities. So they've allowed them entry into our realm because they really can't stop it. In exchange, these fallen beings are given permission to use some of the humans as vessels, more of a container, like a meat suit. Containers for their demonic spirits, because that is really what those demons are after. Because they want to be able to feel. They don't want to be just spirits. They want to be able to influence. Because we're made in God's image, so they hate us. And hate's not even the correct word. They hate us because we are made in his image. So this agreement that I'm talking about may seem unbelievable, but it's part of a larger agenda, and it's all part of the deception of mankind. So these Nephilim hybrids aren't content with just merely observing. They have infiltrated some of the highest positions of power, influencing global decisions. Imagine the people that they took over and the influential roles that they could have. Anything from powerful business moguls to world leaders. Acting and influencing their behavior. I think about all the crazy decisions that we've seen over the last few years, and my mind sticks on this. And the Holy Spirit has been driving me on this topic most of the year. I've been slowly working on it, but I have to wait on the Spirit on this one because I don't like to just use my imagination. So what they're doing is they are steering humanity away from the truth, is what they're doing, towards an all consuming deception. There are whispers that even the president of our country and other world leaders, they're compromised. And these guys are acting under the influence beyond our human interests. So their end game is to make humanity believe that they are our creator, that we are the product of their designs and experiments, to ultimately pull us away from our faith, our values, and our divine purpose. This isn't just a battle over land or resources or political power. This is a spiritual war, a war of realms, and humanity is caught literally in the crossfire. The Nephilim, or the demons, whatever we want to call them, these fallen ones who, that fathered them, may not be as distant as many would think. Think about this. These beings don't merely move around through space. They shift through dimensions, evading detection when they choose, hiding their movements across the veils of reality. It's no coincidence that the sightings increase in certain areas, places that may serve as interdimensional gateways. These crafts, piloted or controlled by beings from another realm, they're remnants of this dark technology. Because think about it, in these other realms, time could be different, not linear to what we're accustomed to here. So it's a reminder that we're not alone, that these forces beyond our sight continue to operate, hidden, but they're always present. I think about that, the veil slipping and getting thinner. Do you guys remember the Miami Mall incident where the local government spun it as teenagers getting rowdy or something? I've never seen a police presence like that. It was straight out of like a Batman movie. Hundreds of police cars. They closed the airspace. There was crazy videos that started to emerge. The police were literally taking the people's phones to make sure that people didn't get video of it. But stuff still kept leaking out. But man, they swept that under the rug. Whatever they were, they disappeared as quick as they came without a trace. The evidence is out there, I think. They want us to believe that they're our creators. But we know the truth. They want to break our faith, to sever our bond with the Creator. This is a warning, really, to stay vigilant, to keep seeking the truth, and to remember that what we see is often only the surface of a much deeper reality. Through various civilizations, the Egyptians, the Sumerians, all of them left behind intricate carvings, artwork, texts that depict godlike beings descending from the sky, sharing their advanced knowledge. Think about, like, the Hindu culture, the pagan culture. They worship gods, at least they thought were gods, but they were literally demigods with a little g. This was in probably the very early period, maybe 100, 200 years after Adam and Eve left the garden, where the Nephilim had been hybrid made with the women. They would look incredible because it would be early in the genetics where they were literally hybrids, 50-50 of fallen angel and the most beautiful women ever made. These demigods would have incredible strength, looked magnificent like a god. And this is where I am very confident that everything, all the gods that people worship, this is where it all stemmed from. Whether it be Zeus or all the different Hindu gods. Even there's a Hindu god that's got an elephant head and like 4 arms. You remember, they crossbred with animals as well. Think about all the different Egyptian gods, the Greek Roman gods. The list is a mile long. This is all stems from the fallen angels, the Nephilim, and their hybrids. You know, the book of Enoch talks about this stuff. The book of Enoch talks about the technology as well. I remember when Enoch was taken up by the Lord, how he described being with God almost like he was in an advanced alien spacecraft.